my 28-year-old son, Brandon, my 17-year-old son, Nicholas, who would be 18, and I also have a 14-year-old daughter named Ashley.
Careful. Hey, buddy.
I chose this picture of him when he was a little bit younger because he was his happiest in this picture. When I see this picture, it reminds me of when the justice system was working better than it is now. I've been granted 3 domestic violence protection orders against my ex-husband. And during this time, we had a DVPO protecting all my children and me from domestic violence and child abuse. And you could see on Nicholas's face that he felt safe. He felt safe to go to school, not worrying about being picked up at school unknowingly, like what happened on November 1st, 2019. This was in 2017. I don't have anything prepared today. I'm just speaking from my heart, which is what Nicholas did all the time. Nicholas has the gift of spiritual discernment. He's gifted. He's extremely articulate.
Oh, careful. It's okay.
He's diagnosed gifted 6 years above his chronological age. So when he spoke well, and he spoke clearly, and he spoke like an adult as an older teenager and a younger child. And so because of that, anybody that interviewed him, such as CPS, who often interviewed him for allegations of harm against his father, it was later twisted in court, alleged that I must have been coaching him because the child couldn't clearly be so articulate and speak so confirmed about what he believed. Well, I'm also a certified public school teacher. I'm also a certified Montessori teacher. I've been a teacher since 1992. Nicholas had the opportunity of interacting and learning from a lot of different people in addition to his teachers and me. A lot of different people helped Nicholas understand that what he was feeling and going through was okay, and he had value, and that he had to speak up. Brandon and Nicholas were very close. Brandon has survived the most horrific abuse that Nicholas didn't survive. We left my ex in 2014, May 29th, 2014. My ex was assaulting Brandon in front of a CPS worker who was in our home to try to teach their father safer parenting skills after brutally assaulting Brandon on January 22nd, 2014, which left Brandon with traumatic brain injury. Nicholas wanted to be the advocate for Brandon and Ashley. My daughter is still not free from family court, from domestic violence, and I really don't feel that we are free. I don't feel that I'm free, because when I left in 2014 and I was granted a DVPO a month later by myself, I didn't know what I was doing. Each time I've represented myself in court, I've been granted protection orders, and I always feel like, what am I doing? I'm not a lawyer. I can only read court procedures and court rules for so long until I'm just so tired. But I keep going, standing on truth, believing that this is justice. Our justice system has to protect our children, and that telling the truth in court will get us the justice that we deserve. I have found out that that is not true, which is why I'm here today. So it's been since 2014, and we have been subjected to ongoing domestic violence. We've been enduring coercive control. for 11 years. I am absolutely exhausted. Nicholas was killed in the process of trying to escape domestic violence. Although it was a police officer that wrongfully pursued him, Nicholas would not have stopped for an officer to pull him over for a traffic infraction because he knew that that meant that I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to misspeak or misstate any facts, but it had happened all the last year that his dad had sent the police to our house to try to find him on his false missing person reports when Nicholas was legally living at home with me. And Nicholas knew that that's likely what he would be facing again had he stopped. So although Nicholas isn't here today to speak for himself, he left a lot of writing for me and Brandon to continue to be his voice. This is not an environment where I can share that today, but Nicholas was a very, he had so much to say, and he really wrote from his heart, and he resisted the judge's unjust orders by trying to live according to what little he knew about the law and his rights. And I often talk to my kids about their rights. And as a public school teacher, I talk to my students about their rights. I am the teacher whose classroom other teachers' students come to at the end of the day, whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school. I want my students to know that they have rights. Would you like to share something, Brandon? When I testified in person a few weeks ago in front of Senator Dhingra in favor of the amendments that Evangeline put so much of her heart and soul into writing, substitute and gross House Bill 1620. And I also just spoke from my heart on that day as well. I heard that she gave everybody 3 minutes to speak. She gave me 4 minutes and 20 seconds to speak. I was the last speaker. And I shared our story and the story of Nicholas.
Was that more or less?
And why
There's 5 minutes.
substituting grossed House Bill 1620 is so important to us. It's not just important to me personally, but professionally. It's important to me personally because this is my child. And the same outcome would have happened to Brandon and Ashley and me and Nicholas in 2014 had we not escaped. The domestic violence organizations did not help us. They did not help us. We were told we had to sleep in my car to show that we didn't have the resources. We didn't have the resources, but I wasn't going to put my children through that to show it. Found another way. My dad helped me. This bill affects me professionally as well because I teach the students who are impacted by domestic violence. I see my students. I really see my students. I see that there is something going on, and when they just don't have the courage to speak up, I let them know in other ways that they can count on me, and I want to know, and I will listen. And if they need a break, if they need to go to the bathroom, if they need to just step out for a little bit, because I can see that the emotions are building up in them, they can go. None of my students have to ask me permission. They just sign out on a clipboard. And I know because my students talk to me, and I know what's going on in their families, whatever they want to share with me. Because my children have been those students. My colleagues have taught my children. And during that time, we were so afraid to speak up. My daughter is absolutely afraid to speak up. And she's 14 and she's young and she's doing what she needs to do to protect herself, and I respect her for that. But it also reminds me of the time before I left when I knew that I couldn't speak up because it would risk all of our lives. So I'm going to end it there. And I thank you for coming here today. I thank you for listening.